Indeed, the historical argument for responsible finance goes back actually thousands of years in philosophical traditions as old as the pre-Socratics, but in all the world's great religious traditions. So you have this pattern of thinking, whether it's Confucius in the Analects or Muhammad in the dialogues of the great Islamic tradition, or the classics brought forward within Christianity. And all of those arguments, in fact, if you look at them together, are saying some similar things, although in different voices. They have to do with ethics, they have to do with normativity, they have to do with what I call economic stewardship, that people are actually trustees of the resources that have been entrusted to them. And we have to take that trusteeship very seriously. So looking back at those traditions actually gives us a very, very wide lens for the present day discussions. This is absolutely a critical question. I wrote an entire book on it called The End of Ethics and a Way Back. And the fact is that we really came very close in 2008 to stare the abyss in the face, and the entire financial system nearly collapsed. We're still digging our way out of that as a result of the very deep recession, global recession. Our calculations, about $35 trillion was lost in total as a result of the financial crisis. So that's 10 years worth of wealth creation, jobs.
The investment universe.
The arguments that we made, looking at the worst cases in the financial collapse, the worst cultures, if you will, the worst firms, many of which actually have gone now out of business, or which were Ponzi schemes in the first place and never should have been in business, were threefold. First, that we have to go back to personal responsibility, that we really have to take seriously our ethical concerns as individuals. Secondly, and I think this is the absolutely critical part, firms themselves have to take on cultures of integrity. They have to fashion themselves in ways that can sustain that kind of ethical behavior. That has to do with training, it has to do with leadership, but it's something that gets habituated. And the best firms are, in fact, very attuned to that. And finally, we need to have regulatory frameworks. I don't start there because I don't think you can legislate morality or legislate ethics, but you have to have regimes that put certain kinds of compliance, put certain standards into order, and hopefully those are more and more globalized so that we find ourselves at least living up to those standards. This is the first time this particular forum has met, and I must say, as a result of being here today, I've probably met 20 or 30 new people that I hadn't met before, from places as far away as Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, as well as in the UK and the United States. So yes, you have to have these kinds of hub activities where you can bring people together for very deep, very thorough, I would say thought leadership kinds of conversations, where they can meet each other, where they can actually hear some speakers who articulate points of view, even diverse points of view. That's the only way to bring this entire movement, if you will, this entire phenomenon of responsible finance or responsible leadership forward. So we need this kind of activity very badly.